failure in the WWE doesn't mean a failure in all of wrestling. Plenty of former superstars have found success or renewed success in TNA. And then there are these guys, 10 wrestlers who failed in both the WWE and TNA. Number 1. Buff Bagwell. He may be buff, but he didn't have the stuff when it came to his runs in the WWE and TNA. Marcus Alexander Bagwell caught a break when Vince McMahon brought him into the WWF on a whim during the Invasion angle, but his bad attitude reportedly saw him shown the door. However, in an interview with the Shining Wizards podcast, Bagwell disputed this, claiming, "There has to be at least 2 companies, or else we're all screwed. You need 2 places to go. When I signed with WWE, I went from making $1 million a year to $220,000. I can't even pay for myself. So Vince told me to sell some things. 2 weeks later I was fired anyway. Long story short, I have no idea why. They bought us to get us off the shelf. It kills me because what a great thing Vince had. WCW versus WWF. A run in TNA was more akin to the proverbial cup of coffee, with Bagwell popping up occasionally in 2003 and 2004, largely to put talent over, and in 2006, where his appearances were more sporadic. Bagwell has worked the indie scene since then and gained notoriety for his work as a male escort for Cowboys for Angels, a vocation captured on the reality show GALLOWS. Number 2. Sylvester LEFORT. 4 years is a long time to spend in NXT, and chances are a wrestler isn't going to make it far, even if he finally ascends to the main roster. In his case, he never made it to the main roster and was released in February 2016. That could have been a good thing if his move to TNA had helped his career, but it didn't, as he floundered in TNA as Basil Baraka, a member of the faction known as the Tribunal. By the end of 2016, he was gone from TNA, proving TNA isn't always a career saver. However, there's usually work to be found for any wrestler willing to travel, and he has found gainful employment in Europe's wrestling scene such as Insane Championship Wrestling and the European Wrestling Promotion. Number 3. Mike Knox. Mike Knox was one of the many big men who managed to get lost in the shuffle during his run in the WWE. He wrestled in the WWE's relaunch of ECW as the jealous boyfriend of Kelly Kelly, feuding with CM Punk and usually coming up short. Future programs in ECW with Mike Knox and Stevie Richards were uneventful. When Knox jumped to TNA, he became Nux, one of the many members of Aces and Eights, faring as well as most of the people on this list who joined TNA's Sons of Anarchy inspired faction. A gimmick change to the leader of the circus troupe the Menagerie did nothing for Knox's career, and he was gone by May 2015. Knox landed in Japan's Inokinome Wrestling, working there alongside Hideki Suzuki, Eric Hammer and Kevin Cross in their own faction. Knox can now be found on the indie circuit with appearances in Alpha Omega Wrestling and Western States Wrestling. Number 4. Marc Mero. Wrestling legend has it that Vince McMahon went crazy when he learned Marc Mero was a free agent, as Vinnie Mac loved the Johnny B. Bad character. Vince signed Mero, but McMahon's dream of Johnny B. Bad in the WWF turned into a nightmare when the WWF's owner learned WCW owned the rights to the character. While Sable turned out to be an unexpected bonus as she became the hottest woman in wrestling, this too blew up in Vince's face when she left the company and slapped them with a sexual harassment lawsuit. Marc Mero went to work in TNA in 2004, competing mostly in its tag team division, but failing to get over. Mero now works as a motivational speaker, traveling to schools where he speaks out against bullying. Number 5. Matt Morgan. There's no denying Matt Morgan has the big man look that the WWE looks for in potential superstars. He received a high-profile spot at 2003 Survivor Series when he competed on Brock Lesnar's team, battling the team led by Kurt Angle. Regrettably for Morgan, the WWE later gave him a gimmick as a wrestler plagued by a stuttering gimmick, which destroyed any chance he had of success in the company. A run in TNA showed promise, with Morgan winning TNA's Tag Team Championship and appearing to be on his way to the main event. This turned out to be wrong as Morgan couldn't break through. Occasional returns to TNA proved fruitless, and Morgan left the promotion in 2015, returning briefly for Impact Wrestling. Morgan keeps busy, having won a commissioner's seat in Florida's Longwood District. Morgan impressed the voters as well as an area political columnist who stated, "It's not just Matt's past as a wrestler that caught my attention, it's that he's running an earnest campaign, chock full of issues." Morgan can also be found on Wrestling Inc.'s podcast. Number 6. Low Key. There's no denying Brandon Silvestri's wrestling talent, but his time in the WWE and his multiple runs in TNA have been disappointing not only for him, but his fans. As Low Key, he worked in Ring of Honor, earning accolades from the fans. However, his first run in TNA saw him as an underachiever in the singles ranks, although his team with Christopher Daniels and Alex Skipper as Triple X was memorable. Low Key left TNA, returning to the promotion later as Senshi, but fans again wondered why he wasn't a main event player. A run in the WWE proved even more frustrating as his time as Kaval seemed to go nowhere. Although Low Key has done well overseas in New Japan Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling 01, as well as domestically in Ring of Honor, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and numerous indie promotions, he never found a way to break through to the top in either TNA or the WWE. Number 7. Orlando Jordan. Orlando Jordan's biggest moment in the WWE was working as a member of John Bradshaw Layfield's cabinet, serving as JBL's chief of staff. He enjoyed a reign as United States champion, including a victory over John Cena, but once the cabinet disbanded, Jordan's career seemed to crumble. Sadly, Jordan became Chris Benoit's go-to job guy, losing repeatedly to the Rabid Wolverine in less than a minute. A run in the indie scene was highlighted by a match against the Ultimate Warrior, leading to TNA signing Jordan. However, TNA ran a controversial angle where Jordan's bisexuality was incorporated in a storyline, with Jordan sexually harassing wrestlers, which later portrayed as Jordan playing mind games with them. Jordan now keeps busy with his wrestling training centers, one located in Florida and the other at his current residence in Australia. Number 8. Justin Gabriel. Justin Gabriel made a big splash as a member of the Nexus, but was quickly thrown aside, leaving fans to wonder what happened to his WWE career. Despite winning the WWE Tag Team Championship 3 times with Heath Slater, Gabriel felt his character was going nowhere and left the promotion. In a 2015 interview, Gabriel discussed the reasons for quitting the WWE. "It was hard. There wasn't just 1 or 2 things that happened, it was a build-up of 6 months. I had all these new ideas for character builds, but it seemed like every time I had these ideas and was gaining momentum, something happened that would stop this momentum. It began to get really frustrating. In all truth, it was probably longer than 6 months. It was probably more like a year. It was just frustration on frustration, and on the day I quit, it wasn't just one thing that happened that made me do it." A trip to TNA could have invigorated his career, and things seemed to be going his way, with Gabriel winning the King of the Mountain Championship. However, he was soon thrown off the mountain, leaving TNA after less than a year. Following his TNA exit, Gabriel worked on the indie circuit as the Darewolf PJ Black, along with campaigns in Lucha Underground. His love of extreme sports consequently led to 2 serious accidents. The first in 2016 and the second last year when he lost a finger due to a base jump gone wrong. Number 9. Luke Gallows. There's no denying Luke Gallows' talent because he and Carl Anderson were 2 of the hottest acts in New Japan Pro Wrestling, working as a critically acclaimed tag team in the Bullet Club. However, there's no denying Gallows' run in the WWE and TNA were complete duds. In the WWE, Gallows played the catatonic Festus in the tag team Jesse and Festus before joining CM Punk's Straight Edge Society. A trip to TNA featured him as a member of Aces and Eights, but he was a supporting player at best and an extra at worst. Following Gallows' success in Japan, fans were excited when he and Carl Anderson entered the WWE. Thus far, his WWE run has failed to live up to the fans' expectations. And number 10, Chavo Guerrero Jr. Chavo Guerrero Jr. never seemed to escape his Uncle Eddie's shadow, falling in obscurity after breaking away from his Los Guerreros tag team with Eddie. While he remained a constant presence in the cruiserweight division, that was the extent of his push, and a drawn-out comedy program with Hornswoggle hurt his career. Chavo headed for TNA, but failed to distinguish himself other than with a TNA World Tag Team Championship reign with Hernandez. Guerrero finally got a chance to showcase his skills, albeit on a smaller stage, when he began working in Lucha Underground, winning the promotion's Lucha Underground Championship and its Gift of the Gods Championship. He now works behind the scenes as a producer, with occasional appearances in the ring. Well guys, there you have it. 10 wrestlers who failed in both the WWE and TNA. Were there any we missed out? Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.